You're listening to Lights Camera Latino, the podcast, hosted by Ángel Fabián Rivera. Remember to follow us on our social media platforms as Lights Camera Latino and Ángel Fabián Rivera.
Hola, mi gente. Welcome back to Lights Camera Latino, the podcast. As always, this is a place where we dive deep into the captivating world of entertainment with influential Latinos shaping the industry. As always, I am Ángel Fabián Rivera, and I'm excited to be back for another episode. And I'm excited for this episode because this is an actress who I've been following for a couple of years now, coming from the musical theater world. And I had the opportunity to watch her on Rent this like 2 weekends ago up there in Boston. So I'm excited to bring here Paola Hernández. She's originally, llegamos. She's originally from Puerto Rico, and her very first professional show was Rent. And life came full circle when she was cast in the 20th anniversary tour of Rent here in the US. Since then, she's graced some of the most prestigious stages in the country, from Carnegie Hall to the Town Hall, and has become a powerhouse performer in regional theaters and beyond. Paola, ¿cómo estás?
Aquí bien, en los calores de New York, porque todavía está haciendo calor. It's hot. It's really hot in here.
It's still hot in there? Oh my God.
Yeah. We're in fall, but it feels like summer still.
Oh my God, pero no se compara con el calor de Puerto Rico. You know that.
Jamás y nunca. Hello.
Jamás y nunca. Paola, you know, I said it before and I said it again. Like I've been seeing your work for the past few years because I started in this whole journey in musical theater. So, you know, siempre veía lo que tú hacías y tengo amistades que estuvieron en ese Rent cuando tú hiciste en Puerto Rico. Que estaba Axel Serrán, si no me equivoco, estaba envuelta ahí.
Axel Serrán hizo hair.
Oh, hizo hair. Él hizo hair. ¿Tú hiciste hair?
Sí. Yo hice hair, pero hice hair.
¿Tú hiciste hair?
I did hair, pero fue a finales del 2019, creo que fue.
Wow.
No, 2009, no 2009. And like, it was like a last minute like replacement sort of situation, porque íbamos para Baton Rouge. Fuimos a Baton Rouge, hicimos hair in Baton Rouge, and then we brought that same production para Puerto Rico. En el
Arribí, yeah. Wow, that's hair es otra cosa.
Sí.
Paola, let's, you know, before we dived in fully into your your art and everything, I want to ask you, you know, you come from Puerto Rico, what words or what phrases you cannot live without que son boricua?
Puñeta. Siempre, all the time. Puñeta. Pero de diferentes maneras. Nieta. Like it's one of those.
There's no way you can translate. Sometimes people ask me like, oh, what does that even mean? And I'm like, I don't know. Whenever you say, you know, when you hit yourself, you say fuck or this or that, you know, like stuff like that. There's no way to translate it. And do you use it sometimes when you're doing these shows?
Sometimes, even under my breath, or like my face will say it. My face will always express what I'm feeling. I can't hide it.
I love that. A mí encanta. ¿Y qué?
If we have Latinos, if we have especialmente puertorriqueños, if there's Puerto Ricans in the cast,
even better.
That's we're always expressing.
You're always gonna say it. Y Paola, what Puerto Rican dish you cannot live without?
El bistec de mi abuela.
Ooh.
Abuela cocina un bistec. Like it's the el bistec que se derrite. Like you don't need a
like very soft.
Sí, ay Dios mío, qué cosa más brutal.
That's the best way, you know. And no, pero me gusta porque people talk about bistec here in the States, but I don't think anybody has tried a bistec in Puerto Rico. It's so different.
the thing is, I cook like I try to cook the same way abuela does, and there's obviously the abuela magic that nobody knows what it is other than love. Pero I literally tell her, I have my cast iron, I slow cook, I marinate it, I do all the things, y todavía estoy cortando con el cuchillo, porque la carne acá es mala.
Yeah. I feel you. You know, we gotta. Those are the things that, you know, they always say, oh yeah, you know, you miss your mama's food or your grandma's food, but they don't understand, you know, because for us, even estando acá in the States, it's so hard to find the ingredients, to find everything, to make everything the same. There's something about it that even la empanadilla that I tried here, that people, you know, who are Puerto Ricans even do them, they don't taste the same.
No. The good thing about Nueva York is that you will find the spot. There is Puerto Rican spots in the area, and it's abuela's cooking. Like it's amazing, and they're selling you a plate for like $8. Pero eso has desayuno, almuerzo y cena. O sea, you have a big meal for $8, which is nice.
That is crazy. I went to New York back in June, and I went to this Puerto Rican place, and yes, they sold me like a big plate of arroz, habichuela. Era carne frita, and everything was so like, it was a whole thing, and it was very cheap. And yes, those are the things that, you know, that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner for us all day. We're not gonna eat anything else.
To go.
Exactly. Okay, so hablando de to go, right? You started your whole career in Puerto Rico. You were born and raised in Puerto Rico, right? Yes, and
like I and to be fair, my first professional gig was Anita la Huerfanita.
Yeah.
In Puerto Rico. It was my first time doing musical theater. I was one of the orphans in the show. And my uncle, Jose Juan Tañón, was the one who played Warbox, which like was like the main lead in the show. And we traveled across Puerto Rico. The producer was Benito Mateo. And one thing that man would do is pay. Like my mom would grab those checks and would put it in my savings account, because she created a savings account for me, so I had my money ready to go when I was older. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Annie, I love it. So Annie, so did you ever see yourself growing up that you were gonna continue in theater?
I never not saw it, like, because I grew up in a very musical family. My mom, my dad, my uncle, my abuelos, everybody sings and or has some form of art relationship to life. And so I never not saw it. I did have like a little like hiccup in my life where I ended up studying comunicación in la UPI. Relaciones Públicas y Publicidad, and I graduated and I got my degree and everything, and I worked in an advertising agency for like a year. And in the meantime, I was doing professional theater in Puerto Rico. But the only thing in Puerto Rico is, you know, we only perform for a weekend. We grew up with this mentality that del arte no se vive. And so, like, they think that artists are poor, which can be a reality. But as soon as I took the leap to go to the States, I've lucked out. I actually have had a very successful career. While I'm not asking to be famous, I'm asking to work. I just want to work. I don't want to be, you know, the followers thing, a mí, eso ni me va ni me viene. I'm here for the craft and for the art, and if I'm not influencing through art, I'm not doing my job. So that's all I want to be doing.
I love that you mentioned influencing through art, because I think that word has lost its real meaning, right? Like, what is an influencer today? But that's, you know, that's a whole different story. But I love that you mentioned that, because I think it's very, you know, when we, you know, in the world that we live today, we forget about the most important thing, which is the craft, right? How much time you're putting into it. And you know, I think you're a very good example of that, because you you did Rent in Puerto Rico. And was that the moment that you said to yourself, you told yourself, okay, if I can do this, I can go anywhere and do this anywhere else, because you took the leap after that, right?
I had a really good teacher in high school. His name is Miguel Rosa. He works a lot in Puerto Rico as a set designer, as a lighting designer, as a stage manager, as a director. And he currently works in the big productions back in Puerto Rico. And he was the first sort of like seed of musical theater, and then the idea that I can sing, dance, and act could be a thing. He instilled it when I was in high school. Then another good friend, Tommy Rivera Vega, who's also an actor, he works in Chicago most of the time, was the one who's like, hey, I'm doing a musical theater camp. And we were like 16, 17 years old. We went to Chicago, Illinois, and we did this musical theater camp. And then I get exposed to Seasons of Love. Like my showcase song was Seasons of Love from Rent. And I go, what is Seasons of Love? What is Rent? And I remember everybody being like, you don't know what Rent is? And then they exposed me to the film. And then I remember seeing the film and being like, wow, this is really cool. Even though these are poor artists, they still, go back to the craft, they go back to like their essence as performers. And I remember telling my mom, I was like, Mom, we have to see Rent together. And I watched the film with my mom, and that was the first time that my mom opened up about one of our uncles passing away from AIDS. And that all of a sudden, like, the mirror of life and art is so perfect that Rent became very important in my life, because in a way I felt like I was telling my uncle's story. I have very vague memories because I was a kid when I met him, and he passed when I was a kid, but like the way that my mom describes him as a loving human, a handsome man, like he was always making sure that he looks, even though he was so sick, he wanted a mirror to make sure that he looks perfect, that he looks good. And my mom will always visit him in the hospital. Like there's a lot of like connection and deep connection to it, that it made me fall in love with the material, and it made me respect the material. Thinking that Rent was gonna be my like leap to do more stuff, I don't know, but I was very much influenced by it. Now when I saw In the Heights, and I saw the Tony Awards, and I saw this like skinny man just rapping about Washington Heights, and hearing the Latino La Clave, hearing like the instrumentation behind things, and then seeing people, it sounds so cliche, but seeing people like me, I'm like, wait, I can do this. And then my teacher at the time, Miguel Rosa, he did we flew in to New York to do like a music theater camp in New York, and like we did workshops and stuff. And our first exposure was Wicked, the musical. Like that was like one of the main things that I was like, oh, I can do this. This is so cool. I was so inspired by all three different pieces, like Rent, In the Heights, and Wicked, but influenced to the point that I'm like, because it's theater, you can do anything. Like it's like there's just magic everywhere. And in a way, I feel like now the new musical theater material is losing a little bit of that. I feel like the messages that we're trying to get across are not as important or as like dominant as the material that we had from the past. And because everything is about how many followers does the person have, how many tickets can we sell, are we able to sustain the show for 8 shows a week into a year, like, and then when they start touring, can we maintain, and this is a longer conversation, but like it's a union and non-union show. So a union show, actors get paid more, and they are treated a little bit fair. Now, I wouldn't say better, but I would say fair. And then the non-equity tour, they will pay you whatever they have, and young artists will take it because it's their first opportunity, and and you want to travel for free, but also you have to deal with the circumstances of racism in this country. unsafe
Ooh, yeah.
places. So and I'm segueing to Rent when I did the tour. It was the best and worst experience of my life.
Yeah. Why?
I loved, so when I get cast in the show, for me it was like, I made it. I'm here. I did it. Now it was a non-union show.
And that was 2015, right? Or earlier than that?
2015, 16,
2015,
and then
right?
17, yes. So, wait, 16. 2016, 17, and then 18, sorry.
Okay.
And for me, it was the first time that Rent was being done again since like 2008, I think.
Yeah.
I know that they did like a revival off Broadway, but that barely did good.
Didn't make it that much.
And then we did the original like blocking, original choreo, original costumes. Like it,
Wow.
when you walked, that's why I keep saying it's best experience too, because you get to walk into the costume room and all you see is thousands and thousands of costumes that belong to Renee Elise Goldsberry, Karen Olivo, Carmine Allers, Yasmin Allers, like you, and people that I've now worked with, and I'm here like, how? I was wearing Karen Olivo's pants for, come on, like what? And Renee Elise Goldsberry's kimono, what? I get you. There's like legacy. There's a legacy that is like put on you. But at the same time, we're traveling every single day. There were days where we were doing one-nighters. And so we will perform one day I remember the Montana like trail, because Montana, we were still in the state of Montana, but a city here, a city there, a city there, a city there. We were exhausted by the end of the week because we barely get to sleep. We just travel, and it's a machine. We have to get the money rolling. We got to get the money rolling. But, you know, the actors don't get the treatment that they deserve in the sense of as simple as physical therapy. And
I was going to ask you that. Exactly. So you're using your body all the time. Do you even get were you getting like a free day, you know, like a day for you?
Our free days were like a Monday, but sometimes Mondays were travel day. So no.
So it wasn't even a free day, yeah, because you had to like wake up early, you know, get on the tour bus or on the plane, and that's it.
And so, and the second year was a little bit harder in terms of travel because the bus drivers unionized. So after a certain mileage, they won't drive. I don't know what the mileage is. So it's like it's point like they can't drive past 20 miles. I really don't know what it is, what the actual mileage is, but because they unionized, then we had to fly all the time. And the flight connections and the flight delays, it's just like we lose an entire travel day and or our day off because of a travel day.
Wow.
Yeah,
it's a different. Have you been in a union tour and have you seen the difference? You haven't seen the difference.
Been on a union tour yet. I think because it's not trauma, but I think I was so traumatized of this.
It's a little bit of trauma.
I still auditioned for them, but it's just like back in the day I was a swing, so I had to cover 3 ensemble female tracks and then 2 principal tracks. So I had 5 different roles to learn, 5 different vocal parts, 5 different choreography. I would go on a moment's notice. I sometimes went in halfway through the show. Like it's one of those. Like you have to be ready.
And you see, I wanna clap to you because you know some people don't know what swings do, you know. And when Paola is saying that she had to learn 5 different tracks, it's literally 5 different tracks because sometimes 2 of those characters are in the same room, right? So you have to learn this character does this choreo different or sings different, right? Has a different note. So you have to learn both. And like, how do you put that into your brain, Paola? I've never had that experience, but how do you do that?
I mean, like any other show, practice makes perfect, but I use colored highlights. So Mimi was blue, Maureen was pink, one of the ensemble ladies was green, the other one was like yellow, and then orange. I think you would see my script and it's literally a rainbow. and then I would write the notes. If like the director will give a note to Mimi, for example, the notes are in blue because Mimi is blue. And if like Maureen gets a note, then the note is pink because Maureen is pink.
It's
That's
pink.
the only way I could just like focus. But when it's like a mid show swing is really hard because you have to, in a way, mold yourself to the person that you're covering because they have already set like their intention and their boundary when it comes to
Yeah. And their emotional arc, right? Somehow, like
yes.
it's already working, it's already moving. So how do you enter into the space having that same mindset that that actor
Mhm.
left it with, and continue like you're the same person, right? Because that's the whole goal. You know, you
And you're
cannot
also
look
freaking
like
out. You're freaking out because you're like, I'm going on. I get excited. I'm like, this is okay. Let's do it. Like, let's the superhero cape on. But at the end of the day, like, there's another misconception of like calling swings and understudies superheroes because they're saving the show. We're hired to do that. It's not a
Mhm.
saving grace. Like, we are hired to learn material that it's sometimes a hard
Yeah.
material, but you have to do it. That's your
Yeah.
responsibility. I get the check every week. That means
Yeah.
that
You know that. Hmm.
I get to do it, not
Yeah.
as often as you want to, because some of the performers, not everybody's meant to be a swing or an understudy. Like it was a very hard like learning curveball for me because I just love to perform, and there were nights that I was just sitting down and I could hear the show
Yeah.
or I would watch the show because that's another thing that I would do. I would just sit down
Uh-huh.
and like watch the show in whatever department I could sit. Like sometimes I would be in the audience, sometimes I would sit close to the band, sometimes I would sit where the lighting person is, stage management is, so I can see how the show moves in all of their particular departments. And if I know that a cue is not going on, I'm like, oh, where's the key, where's the key, where's the key,
You
where's the
know it.
key.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Wow. Wow.
it's really cool.
Yeah, no, and you know, you also don't get to rehearse that many times, right? That's another thing. You don't get to, you know, do a full rehearsal normally, right? So how does that works? Because yes, you're taking notes of the blocking, you're taking notes of everything, but how do you know that you're ready for it? Does that, I mean, does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, we do some shows do have a scheduled understudy rehearsal. So we will even if we cover 5 tracks, we try to do all 5 tracks in the run. But
Wow.
uh we it's normally scheduled for like a Thursday morning, and you would have like a from like 1 through 3 we'll do an understudy rehearsal, get a break, and then do the show at night. But and some of these understudies were also ensemble members, so not only they had to do the show at night, they had to rehearse a different track in the morning. It's insane how what we put ourselves through.
Mhm.
I compare this to a relationship, a toxic relationship, because like it's this business is the love of your life, and it can break your heart
Mhm.
so easily, and you still go back to it. Why? You love that, you love it, you just love it, you just love it.
Nobody knows why, right? But you keep coming. I mean, let's don't you know? Let's think about Rent. I mean, you've done this show how many times now?
Puerto Rico was 2 because I was in the first like cast that Miguel Rosa de hecho was our
Uh-huh.
director. Um, and I with that one I worked with Arquímedes, Michelle
Hmm.
Brava, Michelle Alves, um, uh, Xavier Reyes. There were many people. And then
Wow.
under the vocal direction of Aidita Encarnacion, which
I
is
did
like
that.
another like Aidita's a beast in musical world.
She is.
Like, oh
She's a
my gosh,
beast.
she's outside like this out of this world. And then the second time in Puerto Rico, I played Joanne, and
Oh.
Miguel also directed it with a different group of people. It was a younger like because it was a black is what they call the black box theater workshop, which
Hmm.
it's just we were just literally straight out of like high school and or college, so like we were
Wow.
still um it was like a like an outside program and we did a el en el Victoria, And that was cool
Wow.
because it was very intimate. It was very
Mm-hmm.
intimate. And then I did the tour for 2 years. Then I did something in Long Island as an ensemble member as well. And then when we came back from the pandemic, I got cast as Mimi in Connecticut. And then I did Music Circus with Marco Santana, who also directed the one in Boston. So I've done it in many ways, but they're all different because the direction is different. And,
Yeah. And how many
Paola,
tracks? How many tracks or how many characters have you played in a full Rent show?
Anybody but Collins. I'm kidding. I haven't played any of the male tracks. Yet. But
you have gone through every female track in there. Like you've either learned it or done it or swinged it. Wow.
I've played all. I can happily say that I've played Joanne, Maureen, Mimi, Mrs. Cohen, Mrs. Jefferson, Mimi's mom, Alexi Darling, and all of the above.
What's your favorite one?
I'm very honored too.
Yeah. And what's your favorite one?
Oh, Maureen.
Maureen.
She has like 2 seconds of a show, but it's the most fun to play because you can be whatever you want to be.
Yeah.
Mimi, there's a little bit more development with Mimi. There's an arc to Mimi, and it's she's so emotionally draining.
Yeah.
That another thing that they don't teach us as actors is how to get out of the role.
Mm-hmm.
Like they teach you like, hey, like think about like something that you would have right now. I want ice cream and a hug or something like that. But it's the action to remove yourself from the role and not compare yourself to the role and not be the role when you're outside. Like it's draining and it's especially when you're on tour, where you're living and breathing with the same humans every single day and like traveling, and there's just no time to breathe. But again, I don't regret any of those moments because they taught me that in a future performance of wherever I do Rent, I now know how to tackle it, and I now know how to take it lightly because it's heavy material. And the resources that we got in the tour are resources that I now share with everybody else. Like we got to go to the Library of Congress and see Jonathan Larson's like puño y letra escribiendo sus ideas de how he wants to see Mimi, how he wants Benny, how he wants Collins. And we took pictures left and right, videos left and right, because those things, while we remember those, sometimes I like to revisit them and like something new like sparks. And so some of these shows back from the 90s and early 2000s, like it's their life. Like Rent is Jonathan Larson's life. If you go to the support group, Allie, Pam, Sue, Gordon, those people were people in his life.
We're real
and he wanted
people.
to honor them. He wanted to honor the people that passed away of AIDS. He wanted to, in a way, continue to share that message of fighting for the LGBTQ+. Like, we're going back to those times again. We're going back, and and I hate it. We're going back to the same that we were before. Back in 2016, when President Trump and against Hillary Clinton. And I remember our opening night it was in Dallas, Texas. And I remember walking down the street, talking to my dad in Spanish over the phone. And the first thing that I was told was to go back to Mexico where I belong. And I'm like, I'm not even Mexican. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Not even Mexican.
But okay, but the fact that they had the opportunity to speak hate freely, that's where I was like, we need to continue to do this piece. And it's scarier now. It's scarier.
Yeah, it is scary, especially as Latinos too. You know, it's getting into a time where we don't even know. We cannot even walk in the streets and talk in Spanish because they'll look at us and they'll tell us things. And it's horrible. But you know, I always say, like, I always come back to theater because of what we do as artists, right? And, you know, and the work that you do, the work that Rent does with that show itself, you know, it's still real stories and change lives, you know. In the Heights does the same, you know, it shows you, you know, the life of Latino people living in New York. So, you know, in some form, I always say, like, we're fighting the fight as artists, and that's the way we know how to do it, right? Like, I remember you in Rent in Boston when you acted like as the mom, and you were speaking only in Spanish, and I was like, you know, that's it. That's a fight. You know, that's a fight that we're fighting. And I was scanning the room too, and I was like, there's no Latinos, barely Latinos in this space as audience members. But I hope that they enjoy this and they take that in consideration moving forward, because that's the fight that we're fighting.
And it's also some of these people. It's interesting because, and this is an experience that I had in Portland, Oregon, that we were doing in the Heights. It was my first experience in the Heights. I kid you not, Angel. I kid you not. First row, we're doing in the Heights. I flip the lights to start my day. In the first row, there was a man wearing a MAGA hat, enjoying the show.
What?
Enjoying the show, and we were like, you know that meme where like the math is in the back? That's exactly what our like heads were doing. How do you show
math is not mathing?
How do you show? And I've had moments where, and conversations with people who have seen In the Heights and say that it's one of their favorite shows, but then they vote the other way around, and you're like, mira, that was the cast right here. Like, hello? So it's, I mean, we're gonna still be here. We're gonna still sing the songs, and we're still gonna do it until something clicks and something hits. I enjoy doing it every day. I love people that feel uncomfortable, stand up and leave. At least, I don't know if you in the show that you were there, but we had walkouts. We had people walking out left and right. Oh yes.
Wow.
Oh yes. We had people walking left and right. Outside, they don't like the music. They don't like seeing people dressed in drag. They don't like the queerness of it all. Like, people do feel uncomfortable. And that's a problem with them, not us. We're here.
Not you, exactly.
We're not going anywhere. We're not going anywhere.
Exactly.
We're gonna be louder.
Exactly. No, and I love that because, you know, theater, it's supposed to make you uncomfortable as well. You know, it is supposed to make you feel something that's, you know, it's supposed to change something within you somehow. You know, it moves you in different ways. For me, you know, it made me cry because I was like in the position of like, oh my God, like these people are going through this, right? And you start thinking about people that you have close to you that are going through similar things. But when it makes you feel that uncomfortable, it's like you said, the problem is yours, not mine. So why?
The last day we were there, we're literally bringing our suitcases down to the car in our hotel. There were ICE agents in our parking lot. There were in our last day in Boston, we were in Beverly, Massachusetts. There were ICE agents in the parking lot, and there was something like that like struck me to the core. And I remember that I texted Didi and I texted another cast member that ICE agents are down in the parking lot. Tell me how all of the Latinas in the hotel pulled down, showed up in the parking lot like this, ready to fight, like pa donde vamos, pa donde es la pelea, como like ready to, cameras on, like ready to go. They didn't find the person that they were looking for. Pero then during the show, there was that scene with the cops like shoving the homeless person, and the first thing that I could not like stop tearing, because I was like, that's the reality that we're living in, and I even seeing it in person, I'm like, I don't know what to do. And I texted my dad. I was like, hey dad, like, they're here, and he's like, do you have your passport? And I was like, it's not even about the passport anymore. They profile you left and right. They don't care.
They don't care.
They don't care. Y eso pasó on the last day of the show.
Yay, qué experiencia, me encanta. Qué manera de cerrar el show. And that's the time we're living. But you know, again, like I always love that we have this space, right? We have this community that we've created as artists to go back to it, right? And that this is our comfortable space. But once it hits that space, you know, that's when it's gonna get hard. Hopefully it's, you know, because we're seeing how the politics are affecting arts in different ways. Like all the grants that disappeared this year, right? Like theaters are not receiving grants anymore. If you have a queer show, you have to be very careful with the words because they can easily not give you the grants anymore. A couple of theaters here in Atlanta, they were counting on that money this year, and once they canceled all the funding, they were like, "What are we gonna do?" So they started doing their own crowdfunding in order to get that money to move forward to, you know, with whatever they had. But it's getting hard, right? And you know, and they're hitting our soft spot, which is the arts. And it's hard, right? How do we continue to do this? It's just by going back to the community and fighting together. There's, you know, I love that you mentioned that all the Latinas went down there and just did like, okay, what are you gonna do now, right? And it just gets harder and harder every day. Like people don't know how hard it's getting here.
And again, we have to fall back into the material. And some of these theaters, the lucky part of some of these theaters have is that they're subscriber based. So they'll sell packages that help them maintain, but not enough. So they have patrons, they have donors, they have everything. Some donors are in alignment with the theater views, some are not. Some pull in, some pull out. Like it's just, you can't. We've learned that we can't please everybody. But if we are influencing the vast majority, we're doing our job. And compared to the day that you went to the last performance, our last performance was sold out. So like
wow.
Word of mouth worked. It's something that hasn't been done in Beverly, Massachusetts, and we can see why. And it's not to fault anybody, but like the lack of education in theater, in arts, in music is so like it's spreading even higher that it's alarming. I think one of the biggest influences in my life has been my mom, because she's using music. She uses music to influence. She believes in the betterment of people. She believes that people can be better with the arts. And so that's something that she will never take away from any of us. Like she's the first and the biggest supporter of everybody in the family. She's the angel of our group, basically.
I love it. So, yeah.
She always makes sure that we fall back to what the message is when we try to, you know, sing. Because if we sing without meaning, it makes no sense.
It makes no sense. You have to sing with your heart. And that, you know, let's shout out to your mama, because I love that. I love that, you know, we have those parents too who are supporting and are also like making sure that you're still here because this is your path and you're taking it as serious as it is, right?
And you have those conversations with your parents, because even when I said me voy para Nueva York, ¿y cómo tú vas a pagar la renta?
Así como en Rent, literalmente como en Rent, así mismo como en Rent.
I'm like, what? What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, and I again, I keep coming back to Rent because I love that Rent also has that moment of like parents calling their kids and asking like, you know, where are you? What's happening? Call me. How are you, supporting yourself? This and that. And that is the truth. And, you know, imagine if now it's hard, imagine in the 90s where, you know, internet was not there and it was all phone and stuff like that. And again, like these musicals and this, you know, music and art, when we think about these old shows, it tells history, right? Like it tells what happened from different points of view. Like Rent does it in the 90s, right? Like In the Heights does it. Hamilton does the same thing. Like these shows are telling a story that goes around what's happening in that era that it belongs to. And you know, that's also another way to learn and to understand life too. So I always say like art should be for everyone, because there's so different ways that you're gonna understand why or the what or how?
When we did Rent in Japan, we toured with
Wow.
Rent in Japan. When I tell you, it's as simple as the people were clapping on beat. People were clapping on beat. Angel is dancing and they're all clapping on beat. And it's like the music supervisor explained it like a thunder sound, because they clap sort of like this. And when you hear it all together, it's a very sharp sound. I don't know. I can't explain it. People have to experience it. But it was very, you can see that education and art is very valuable over there, because people would stay until the end of the playoff. So we bowed and the band is still playing and they're still there until the end of the band playing. And then they keep clapping too hard that we have to bow again. Like it's that sort of experience, and that it's exhilarating. And to this day, it has been my like best Christmas ever, even though I love my Christmases in Puerto Rico. We did December 24th, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in Japan at December 24th at 9 p.m. And everybody's looking at their clocks, and yes, it's 9 p.m. But the most exhilarating feeling, and kudos to the stage manager, Jane, at the time, they timed the show so well that when we started the second act, we go 5, 4, 3, open sesame, Happy New Year. You could see the people looking at the clock. It changed to midnight of the first, midnight, of the first of January, and it's just a wave of cheering, and we're just screaming backstage, "It's the New Year, we're doing Rent, this is amazing!" It was such an exhilarating feeling, and I wish I could take it back. We have some videos somewhere that I'm like, oh, I always revisit it because it's still one of the best experiences.
Oh my God, I love that. That's an experience, and again, like every audience is gonna be different, and every place is gonna be received differently, even if it's the same show. Like everybody's gonna see it differently. Paola, let's talk about some gems. How do you take care of yourself vocally? And especially when you're on the road as well, or when you're in, at someplace else, like you did in Boston, right? Like, how do you take care of yourself vocally?
Vocally, vitamins are always like a go-to. Vitamin C is my go-to all the time. Zinc is a really good one too. However, we have a straw. When we warm up with the straw, also we can use it in our water bottle, and we warm up the vocals while not being too annoying with it, because sometimes when you if you do too much for your voice, it can be like problematic for your chords. Less is more, and it's just it's as simple as warming up you wake up, and then the first thing I grab is the straw, or like I start doing my little like massages on my neck. You learn as you go, because yes, I know that everything's related. I just didn't know that the massaging the neck, the massaging the jaw, they actually give you gloves so you can go inside of your mouth and actually make sure that you release the tension that is in your jawline. Like, those things I learned with time, and it has worked. But sometimes the voice, the body, everything tells you it's time to call out, and that is okay. We are so instructed to not call out because things happen, and
The
whatever.
show must go on, right?
It's always money related, and it's like they don't want. I was told once not to post that I'm going on because that would ruin the integrity of the show that they're selling. And I'm like, then why did you hire me in the first place? Like, you would hear people in the. I remember this because I was with our former swing. We would hear people in the lobby of the theaters that we would perform in, and then they're like, "Oh, the entire cast is on. We're good. It's gonna be a good show." Meanwhile, the swings and understudies, some of us are like actually watching the show. We're like, okay.
It's like, okay.
But it's just one of those things, like, to take care of your body. It's like working out. It's like if you want to go work out, you need to stretch. It's the same thing as a dancer. You have to stretch. As an athlete, you have to stretch. Everything requires you to stretch, whether it's the vocal cords or it's your body, or both. Sometimes I just run for rent. I was taught to, whenever I went on for Mimi, to sing Out Tonight on a treadmill, because it's such a cardio-driven song, and La Vivo M is cardio too. You have to be able to run and sing at the same time.
Wow,
it's insane.
that's I love everything that you mentioned, because I think it's very important. And again, like, I love that you put a very like an important asterisco to call out whenever you're not feeling good. You know, yes, it's okay, that's fine. You know, the show will continue on. You know, don't worry about it. It's put yourself first, and sometimes we put the show first before ourselves, and we have to be careful with that.
I always say that the shows are temporary, but your career is a lifetime. So it's
there.
fine.
There it is.
We will go on. We will go on.
Yeah, exactly. Paola, and how do you stay with your mind, with a strong mindset? You know, in this career, we receive a lot of no's. How do you stay like on?
Not comparing myself to other people, especially with Latinas, it's really hard. We have like 5 shows to choose from.
Exactly.
When they see you for a different show, I always bring the magic card, which is being Latina. I think like I play that to my advantage, because we see some stuff that some other people may not see within the role that you're given. Some shows that I've auditioned for, I'm like, I've never heard the show in my entire life, even though it's a famous show. But the moment I see white people on stage, I'm like, it's not for me, and then I just walk away. You know what I mean? Like, I don't relate to it. But then all of a sudden, they give you the material for you to audition with, and you're like, oh, but this is related to this part of my life. This is I can relate definitely with what this person is saying. But the director has to have that vision too. And it's very hard to find a director that can just play with the bodies that they're given and audition, rather than like ethnicity, race, whatever, insert whatever. Hence why I love Shakespeare. Anybody can do Shakespeare.
Anybody can
do Shakespeare. There's no problems of who plays what, because they're Shakespeare. And to maintain myself in the everything's gonna be okay, because right now I'm jobless. Like, I don't have a next gig, but I decided to find a career or a sustainable job that still allows me to be in the theater world. So if I recommend people to become ushers, to work at the box office in theaters, because you get the exposure not only to see the show that is currently on the theater, but we get so many free tickets for other shows that it's like, that's the way to survive. Like, you need to be exposed to art. You create relationships in that particular space, but also you gotta pay the bills. If you have to be in a restaurant job, get the restaurant job. Do the thing. It hurts because people treat people badly sometimes, and I knew that I couldn't do that for the rest of my life. I couldn't do it. Some people, in order to maintain themselves, go to the fitness world and they become instructors. They worked in the fitness industry. They balance it out with theater. Some of them have navigated being fitness instructors for actors. So like, they understand what actors are going through, what dancers are going through, so they mold their programs to be fitness instructors for actors, and there are many programs that do that. But also allow what I'm trying to give myself is the grace of living. I think the older I get, the more I want to spend time with my family, spend time with my friends, travel. Back then I wanted to look for the next gig, and if I left, then I'm missing on the gig. So it's like, it's okay. Lo que está para ti no te va a pasar.
Lo que está para ti, exacto. No, and I love that you mentioned that, because you know there's a certain lie that they tell us actors, right? That you are just dedicating your life to this and this and this, and that's it. But it's not. Like, it's okay. Like you said, it's okay to have a side job. It's okay to have to be doing something else. It's okay to travel. It's okay to be with your family and friends. It's okay to say no, even, right? It's okay. It's not the end of the world. You have to live. And somebody, told me something very, very, very good. Like a couple of years ago, when I started doing film, they were like, the more you live, the better actor you're gonna become.
Oh,
and for me, I was like, what? And yes, like every experience that you live through life, it's gonna help you with this, right? And the better you're gonna become. So yeah. So like you said, like it's okay. It's okay. It's okay not to have a gig right now. It's okay to be doing something else while you prepare for the next thing, because life is preparing you for that next thing that's gonna come in next few months.
And one thing that I learned even from my college years doing advertising and public relations is the relationships that you develop. It could be in the restaurant, you meet another fellow actor that you will work with. You will work with this person. I guarantee you that you will work with this person. And you will find those relationships. Mira, I'm putting my birthday as an example. Back in June, I was born Father's Day, ¿verdad? And the first thing I told my dad, I was like, I'm singing on my birthday, you're flying and you're playing the flute. Yeah, I didn't know how I'm gonna do it, but I was gonna do it. And that's, we always try to be together for Father's Day and birthday. And I remember reaching out to a friend who's a bassist. I reached out to another friend who's a drummer. I reached out to this amazing music director to music direct my birthday cabaret, and everybody said yes within the 5 seconds that I texted them. And for me, that was like, because in a way we've worked together in the business and we were jobless at the time, I'm like, let's do something for fun. It's my birthday. And then I made everybody sing with me. So it wasn't like,
I love it.
It wasn't like me, cabaret, solo, whatever. No, I used the people that have influenced me in my life to do a duet with me. And we cried our eyes out because when my dad and my mom came in to sing, that was very like beautiful. But I love connecting people. I love being your link to whatever the next endeavor of your life is. And in that particular cabaret, or my particular birthday, I was not only working with Didi, who this year has been 3 projects with her. Aaron Harrington, the Collins, he was my Collins on the tour, but he's one of my best friends. But he was also in my birthday. Alana, who was our Seasons of Love soloist, was in the audience that day. Who else was in that I was like, oh my god, this is the entire cast of Rent. I cast Rent before Rent was cast. But it was,
I love that,
to have those relationships. And Aaron's best friend Matt is also my best friend, so it's like I love connecting people. I want Angel meet Didi meet Angel, and be friends, especially because when we move here, there's nobody. I moved here, I just had my roommate who was Puerto Rican, and hopes and prayers that I can find community, because I have nobody. I just recently learned I have cousins in Jersey, and I was like, Dad, when were you going to tell me that I have cousins in Jersey? Hello.
Now?
And they're performers. They're both performers. So
oh my God. I love that. I love that. But yeah, and again, it's coming back to community. It's coming back to, to bring in who you want to, who you feel comfortable with. Because again, it is hard. Like when I moved here 3 years ago, I moved here by myself, and people were like, why are you moving to Atlanta? Like, of all places, yes. I said to myself, why am I moving to Atlanta? I was moving for film stuff, right? But it was hard for me at the beginning to find my community. And then I realized, wait, like there's these Latinos doing film. Like, let me go to that place. Let me go to theater. Let me watch theater. Let me see what's happening in theater that's, Latino related, so I can start creating my community, because that's what I know. And from there I can start and open. But yeah, I think it's all about that. It's about finding your troop, right? And connecting. And because again, it's a hard career. It's a very lonely career, right? Because nobody knows what you're going through but yourself, because everyone has a different path as well. Not comparing yourself with others. But I think, and I see that you're doing it, Paola, and I love that you are doing it, and I love that que tú te tiraste, ¿verdad? Y dijiste, you know what, I'm gonna do it, and you've been doing it. And again, I've been following you for the last few years because I know you come from Miguel, because I know Miguel, I know Miguel from Puerto Rico, porque yo soy de la UPI también. So you know, you are doing it, and you know, you should. Sometimes we don't sit down and realize the work that we're doing, and you have to pat yourself in the back, Paola, because you're being an inspiration to others. You know, you're influencing people to do what you're doing, and you know, to have a Latina up in front, it's beautiful.
And it's, I had that moment. She's currently doing Shrek, the musical, Paola Hernández. She's doing the Dragon. And I was so excited that it was her because her voice is out of this world. Marileda,
it is.
I remember her for a talent show, creo que fue el National Honor Society, something like that, and she sang Whitney Houston. Una chamaquita, and I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And I remember complimenting her in one of the posts, and Marileda dice como que yo fui una de las personas que pushed her for musical theater, y yo, ¿qué? What? Yo estoy aquí como, oh, that's so cool, de que me veas como un ejemplo. Y again, como te dije, yo no quiero ser famosa, a mí no me importa esa cosa, yo lo que quiero es trabajar, y yo quiero que de alguna manera nuestro arte sea influyente en muchas personas, y o sea, Puerto Rico tiene tanto talento. Lo voy a decir, Puerto Rico está bien cabrón, porque es qué bueno competir contra los míos, y no competir de pelearnos, pero claro, es como que el que se lo va a ganar se lo merece, y porque en Puerto Rico de verdad se fajan. Acá, no, that's not it. Y me preguntaron, pues yo hice Rocobellos en PR, y yo les decía a los muchachos, mira, no importa cuántos In the Heights yo haga, nunca se va a comparar con Rocobellos Puerto Rico. Y yo, ¿pero por qué yo? Porque la energía del grupo era el calentón, pana. Era un calentón que estamos todo el mundo en lo mismo. Todo el mundo se está aprendiendo lo mismo. Aquí no hay ego que valga. Aquí no hay que probarle nada a nadie. Ya estamos en el elenco y le vamos a meter. También tenemos el guía de dirección, que es Marco Santana, que él es un nene chiquito. Él es un nene chiquito en escena, o sea, en el salón. Y una de las bendiciones de Rent fue que tuvimos a Marco Santana con un atrevimiento de sacar lo que tenemos imaginado de Rent y decir, yo quiero hacer esto. Y todo el mundo dijo, pues dale, pues vamos. O sea, y bueno, estamos todavía deseando, we miss each other, like, o sea, estamos ya planificando el jangueo, porque no podemos sin nosotros. Pero, again, todo depende de la dirección del líder. O sea, si el líder que tenemos en el grupo instills confianza, seguridad, y no es de estas personas que te dice, te vas a mover de punto A a punto B y quiero que muevas la mano derecha en este momento. No, él te va a decir, yo necesito que tú cumplas con la foto. La foto dice que vas a empezar en punto A y después vas a punto B. Como tú llegues, tú te lo inventas.
Como llega.
Entonces, that's something that, like, as actors, we have to be able to do. We sometimes have directors that literally teach you, your hand is here, your other hand is here, you're doing this, and it's just like, then the creativity is just gone. It's stripped away. Y pues todo, por eso es que yo digo, PR está cabrón. Pero PR, pues, necesita su... Yo lo que quería, a mí lo que me hacen falta son chavos, luego. Yo lo que quiero son chavos, para yo poder producir en Puerto Rico, porque hay demasiado talento en Puerto Rico,
hay demasiado talento. Y me encanta, ¿verdad? Que ahora pues está dando, ¿verdad? Más, ¿verdad? Con lo que está haciendo Bass Entertainment, que está, you know, they're doing their thing. They're doing musicals every year. Like este año, this year only, they've done twice, right? Because they did Rock of Ages was this year, and now Shrek. So they're doing at least 2 musicals a year,
pero
which,
mira,
you know, that's a step.
Y antes de yo irme, yo hice hair, yo hice rent, yo hice hairspray. O sea, honestly, it didn't age well because I shouldn't be doing hairspray, pero en Puerto Rico, I'm considered that I should be doing hairspray.
You know, and hairspray, in Puerto Rico is different.
Pero, había una abundancia de diferentes direcciones y diferentes producciones. O sea, no todo era la misma casa productora. Mira, en Puerto Rico está taller artístico haciendo sus cosas también con chamaquitos, pero también Félix, ellos terminaron haciendo In the Heights y tenían a Magali Garrasquillo de la abuela. ¿Qué? Magali, mi abuela. ¿Qué?
I know.
¡Qué bendición! Mano, qué bendición. Trabajar con Pablo Castillo. ¿Qué? ¿Qué es esto? O sea, ¿qué? O sea, personas con las que son influyentes en nuestras vidas. Y pues, dentro de todo, sí, qué bueno que está haciendo estas cosas. Pero yo entiendo que hay muchas casas productoras que tienen la capacidad de hacerla. Lo que necesitan es el dinero y el espacio.
El dinero, el espacio.
Lamentablemente el dinero. Y eso es porque también uno no puede trabajar del arte. O sea, digo,
no hay que
vivir, ¿cómo es?
Ya, no puede vivir del arte.
Entonces,
digo,
sí. La discrepancia de paga, o sea, la discrepancia de paga, tú puedes ganarte, y lo voy a hacer bien abierto, 3.5 por ser ensemble en una función, versus acá, semanal, yo me estoy generando como ensemble casi 1,000 pesos la semana. Y después si estoy cubriendo personajes me pagan más.
Me pagan adicional.
Me pagan adicional. Todo depende del contrato, todo depende del teatro, o sea, porque muchos teatros tienen más ingresos que otros, pero mi mínimo semanal es 1,000 pesos. Que ahora mismo sí, en Nueva York está cabrón porque no podemos vivir de 1,000 pesos, pero porque los taxes te sacan todo, pero ahí tú pones en balanza, diablo, ¿hago música en Puerto Rico o me voy para Estados Unidos a hacerlo?
Exacto.
¿Entiendes? Entonces hay muchos tours donde el mínimo, tours de lo que se llama el production contract, el mínimo de un tour semanal, fácil, 2,200. Fácil. Entonces, hay unos tours que te dan un estimado para un per diem.
Para comida,
Para comida. Hay otros que te dan te dan dinero como para, si no quieres coger el hotel que te van a proveer, ellos te dan el dinero que iban a utilizar para el hotel y tú lo puedes utilizar en el Airbnb. Entonces, tú puedes de alguna manera balancear con ese dinero que se genera para ustedes. Y yo digo que en Puerto Rico tenemos eso y más porque nosotros somos palas. O sea, todo es por palas en Puerto Rico. Sí. El hacer el intercambio, ya sea proveyendo boletos, y tienes a gente que viene de Estados Unidos que son puertorriqueños que ya no viven en Puerto Rico, y puedes hacer un intercambio en un hotel que quede cerca de Bellas Artes, o un intercambio de carros para que puedan gasolina. O sea, hay muchos recursos.
All those things.
Y entonces, como estas cosas están vendiendo, te lo dan. Eso es mercadeo 101.
Yes, pero yo siento que en Puerto Rico el problema mayor, ¿verdad? Es que no está la cultura de pagarle, ¿verdad? De tener esta, ¿verdad? El teatro, como tú dices, este pago semanal, o este pago de que esto es un full time, o este pago de que no se siente así. Y entonces ahí está el problema mayor en Puerto Rico, ¿verdad? Que la mayoría como hace 10,000 cosas a la vez, ¿verdad? El actual a veces se siente como un side job. Exacto. Entonces no se está considerando como un main full of income, ¿verdad? Donde tú puedas tener eso, ¿verdad? Donde tú puedas ensayar 4 weeks of rehearsal, and then you get paid every week like you're supposed to, right? And then, you get paid for the shows and stuff. Because I had the problem in Puerto Rico that they were, they were paying me per show, right? Y cuando yo empecé, I remember they were paying me $150 per show, And again, like you were rehearsing for 2 weeks or 3 weeks, and then you do a show for a full weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and you're getting paid $150 per show. So what, $450 at the end of the day? So it was like, why do I even do this? ¿Para qué? And that's when it gets tricky. That's why we leave too, because we wanna open our eyes and see the reality and find a way to live from this. And
in a way, it's educating our culture too, that we don't leave because we want to.
No.
Yo no me quiero ir de aquí, lo dijo Bad Bunny, no me quiero ir de aquí. Pero también uno se tiene que preocupar por lo que uno quiere en su vida. Y mano, si yo puedo hacer teatro en Puerto Rico y quedarme en la playa. The fact that we were able to rehearse y dijimos, vamos para la playa. Vamos para la playa, pues. Like, o sea, los ensayos aquí, por ejemplo, son 10 a 6. 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. we're rehearsing.
Yeah. It's a 9 to 5.
Es un full time. Entonces, allá tienes tú, especialmente si tenemos personal de la farándula, ellos tienen sus trabajos en televisión, en cine, en radio, lo que sea. Y ellos están de las 10 de la mañana a las 4 de la tarde y después arrancan para el ensayo. I totally get that. They have to make their own money. Pero es como moldearnos a empezar a reeducar ese entrenamiento, porque aunque es un método gringo, es efectivo. O sea,
es efectivo.
Es efectivo porque ya tienes esto sólido, estamos todo el mundo ensayando lo que tenemos que ensayar y ya cuando estamos abriendo el show y ya vamos por ahí por abajo. Y si por mí abrimos más funciones, lo que pasa es que pues eso, la venta de taquilla, cuánta gente viene a ver el show. A mí mi pena es que se le dé chavos a Hamilton y no a Shrek Puerto Rico. ¿Tú entiendes?
You said it yourself.
Y estoy clara y yo estoy segura que la mitad de esa gente no entiende una palabra que está diciendo Hamilton. Porque yo no lo entendí.
No.
Yo tuve que poner el playback y yo decía, Dios mío, es que el rapeo está demasiado.
Sí.
Yo, ¿qué tú estás diciendo? Y después, pero es un espectáculo. So, yay, qué lindo quedó.
And that's it. And that's what they want, and at the end of the day, yes, but, like there are so many stories out there that we can tell. Y sí, hay que ser un poco smart, ¿verdad? Con lo que se está empezando a hacer en Puerto Rico para poder traer esa audiencia, ¿verdad? Y crearla. Y yo creo que, ¿verdad? Por ejemplo, Shrek, yo siento que es un musical que lo hubiesen traído hace años atrás, porque es un musical que va a traer diferentes sectores y va a enamorar a la gente. Y yo creo que de ahí está.
No me arrepiento, pero el único que me da pena es que no dio fruto, pero es porque la gente no conoce, no está educada en eso. Fue Next to Normal, Casi Normales. Que tienes un elenco.
Ese en casa estaba. Y Sara.
¿Qué? Ajá. Y yo me acuerdo de Sara Jarque y Marian Pavón haciendo Chicago.
Eso lo dirigió Axel Cintrón, ¿verdad? Sí, yo creo que sí.
Oh my God.
Ya, pero es eso. Sí, Axel Cintrón, que es otro directazo, ¿verdad? De teatro. Pero again,
tú vas a estar guisando en los 30. Y gracias, Axel, porque estoy guisando en los 30.
Y shout out to Axel.
Él nos dirigió en Godspell. Esa fue mi última favorito fue Godspell. Y fue Ulises Rodríguez y Madeline Ortiz fueron los productores. Y así los amo. Y si esto lo publica,
Madeline.
Yo amo a Madeline. Los productores con los que yo he trabajado, todavía quiero el revival de Gospel, que quede plantado aquí en la pantalla.
Madeline, escucha esto.
Muchos nos mudamos. Eddie Noel, Omar Nieves. Estaba también Christopher, estaba Claudia, Alejandra vive por acá también. Es como que
wow.
Si tú nos dices revival de gospel, nosotros llegamos en 5 segundos. Porque mira que la pasamos tan bien. Qué buena dirección, qué buen equipo de trabajo, y se notaba que todo el mundo quería hacerlo. O sea, es eso, las ganas de querer hacer cosas así. Y mira, es un material donde es influyente, ya seas religioso o no lo seas.
Exacto, o no lo sea.
Influyente de miles maneras. Y es un buen musical que yo diría, mira, hasta para niños es bueno porque tienes lo colorido de la historia de Jesús, pero a la misma vez
exacto.
La historia de Judas. O sea, está
exacto.
Ay, qué buen musical.
Madeline, yo amo Madeline. Madeline fue una de mis mentoras también. Yo aprendí mucho de producción con ella. Y ella es una, ¿verdad? Y Ulises también, yo trabajé con los dos. Pero me encanta, yo escuché mucho de gospel, yo no llegué a verlo, pero yo escuché de gospel. Madeline me contó y Axel me contó de ese proyecto.
Son buenísimos. Y mira, muchas de las cosas que está pasando también por acá, y te digo que los terminé. Hoy el día ha sido de business. Y esta mañana yo estaba haciendo mira mi micrófono, yo estaba haciendo un work session con un muchacho puertorriqueño, se llama Chévez Sánchez, y él escribió un short film, y sí, un cortometraje.
Sí, cortometraje.
Se llama The Resilient Coquí. Y estaban buscando voices para este short film. Yo veo el core y yo, dale, mira, me interesa. Yo hago voiceover, este es mi reel, qué sé yo. Me enviaron el material y el short film son 7 páginas, loco. Yo estaba a moco tendido. Porque esto es animación para niños de 4 a 6 años. Y es un short film que habla de cómo enseñarle a los niños de esas edades be resilient when natural disasters happen en la isla, y estamos hablando de terremoto, estamos hablando de huracán, o sea, estamos hablando de cosas fuertes en el material. Y yo terminé esa sesión y how do I cool down, puse Bad Bunny por ahí para abajo. Porque de verdad es de estas cosas. Sí.
A llorar más con Bad Bunny.
Chacho, si voy a llorar, voy a poner Zafaera para sacarme la mente. No,
me encanta.
Es un material bien bonito, y él me dice, ya, tú eras la última voz que nos faltaba, ya tenemos como que el esqueleto del short film. Te vamos a enviar el boceto cuando ya tengamos todas las voces y la edición, te enviamos el boceto para que veas cómo se ve la imagen con la voz. Y él me dice, pero quiero que sepas que todo el proyecto es puertorriqueño. Y yo, ¿cómo que? Y él me dice, el niño es puertorriqueño, estos otros personajes son puertorriqueños, los que hacen la animación son puertorriqueños.
Animación también.
Luego, y el pecho se me quería caer. O sea, yo no sabía dónde poner el corazón, porque son estas cosas que estamos multiplicándonos, pero una cosa que gracias a Dios ellos están recibiendo el fondo de la Latin Film, qué sé yo qué carajo.
Ajá.
Y recibieron los ingresos para poder pagarle a los actores, para poder pagar las ediciones. Pero que nos encontramos, es a lo que voy.
Sí.
Los boricuas nos encontramos de una manera, y yo no sé quién me contó esta historia una vez, que estaban en Puerto Rico y estaban en Italia, y había un puertorriqueño que estaba perdido. Y gritó, ¡puñeta, que necesito ayuda! Volviendo el puñeta. ¡Puñeta! Y alguien del otro lado en la plaza de Italia dice, ¿tú eres boricua? Ya, nos encontramos como nos encontramos.
Y ahí fue. Es así como nos encontramos y nos ayudamos, ¿verdad? Y eso es lo lindo que nosotros tenemos, ¿verdad? Que nos ayudamos entre sí. Aquí me pasó lo mismo, aquí yo conocí, ¿verdad? Encontrar a los boricuas porque los encontré, ¿verdad? Y ahora pues ya tengo gente que yo sé con quién puedo contar, porque siempre decimos que sí, nos ayudamos al otro y estamos ahí para el otro. Y eso es lo lindo que tenemos. Paola, this has been like an amazing conversation. Like, thank you really for putting, like, you are amazing. You are amazing, not only as a performer, but, as a human being, and sometimes it's hard for us to see the human behind the actor, right? Because we're always like, putting a wall somehow, because we're in that world, right?
Mira,
and está de boricua para el mundo. Me encanta. And it's so great to finally meet you and finally talk to you, because it's been amazing. Thank you again for accepting this. Thank you again for the work that you do, Paola. It's really beautiful, and you're inspiring others. And, I want you to remember that you're being an inspiration to others. And that's very important. Paola, who's a dream collaborator, or what's a dream musical that you want to do?
Dream musical no lo tengo, porque pues ya estoy haciendo Ace Rent, Ace in the Heights, Wicked me encantaría, pero para mí siempre ha sido original un rol, crear el rol from scratch, moldearlo y que de alguna manera sea tan influyente como yo quiero ser en la vida, o sea, que de alguna manera lleve el mensaje y que deje un legacy, o sea, y que lo mismo que Rent ha creado para mí, yo quiero que el musical que yo esté, sea 75 años de mi vida, o sea, a mí no me importa contarle que eso tenga, de alguna manera, lo reciban con flores y lo pasen por ahí para abajo. Hablando de 70 y pico años, las flores que se le tiraron a Toñita, de aquí de Nueva York, yo no sé, el Bad Bunny le hace la referencia en Nueva York, un shot de cañita en casa de Toñita y la vuelan para Puerto Rico para que vaya para el concierto. Esas flores que le están tirando a Toñita en vida, eso es lo que yo quiero, de alguna manera, que mi arte y el próximo show que me toque hacer, que yo pueda originar, declarado está, que se tiren esas flores y se repartan por ahí para abajo.
Declarado está y va a pasar, ya vas a ver. We're going to be here cheering you and you know, and supporting you. Thank you for that, Paola. Gracias por eso. Paola, how can people reach out to you and or collaborate with you if they want to?
Mi Instagram. Y que voy empezando por TikTok, pero Instagram, porque no me sé el handle de TikTok. que yo soy P_B Hernández. ¿Esa es? Ese es, ok. Porque no me escriba por el website, porque tampoco. Lo tengo ahí de carta de resumen por si acaso lo ven.
Me encanta.
Pero no,
me encanta, Paola.
Yo soy una persona de si nos conocemos, olvídate, de en persona, ahí es que vamos a colaborar. Pero sí, no, Instagram es que donde pongo mis cosas, si necesitan saber cosas. Hay veces que pongo cosas al garete, porque mi vida es así.
That's your life. That's tu vida.
Si no, tienes que ver mi vida de todas las facetas. A mí eso de ponerte la cara bonita nada más, eso no es humano. La vas a ver, vas a ver a la familia, vas a ver a mi perro, a Wally que está por aquí molestando. Por eso me estoy moviendo mucho acá, porque es que está molestándome. Está como que,
está por ahí.
Atención, por favor.
Aquí, por favor. Pero perfecto, Paola. Entonces, before we finish, I always like to ask one thing you want to tell those young artists out there who have a dream to be where you are today.
Di que sí para todo. Digo, con sus moderaciones. Pero si te dicen que necesitamos pintar escenografía, di que sí. Si te dicen que necesitamos ayuda en sonido, di que sí. Aprende no tan solo las líneas, pero aprende el trabajo de cada cual en el teatro. Porque todos estamos trabajando por un mismo eje, por un mismo goal. Y si nos olvidamos de esa persona, hay un desbalance. Apréndete los nombres de las personas con las que trabajas, porque esas son las personas que vas a trabajar con ellos nuevamente y nuevamente y nuevamente y nuevamente. Yo tengo la bendición que Marco Santana está con 4 créditos en mi resumen, y es porque él ha sido bien influyente en mi vida. Igual lo ha sido Miguel, que Miguel era mi resumen antes de que empecemos acá. Pero me acuerdo que la conversación que yo tuve con Marcos me dice: Paola, pero no me pongas de corrido. Y yo, no, es que te voy a poner de corrido. Porque qué valor más grande que alguien me respete en mi elemento. Que quieras trabajar conmigo el mismo año, 3 veces diferentes. Chacho, olvídate. Y me trajiste... Ya nosotros hicimos Rent una vez y me volviste a traer a tu otro Rent. O sea, coño, qué bendición que yo esté en boca buena tuya. Porque yo que no en boca mala no me ponga.
Exacto. No, eso es bien importante. Y eso da mucho que hablar. Da mucho que hablar de quién tú eres como artista y como ser humano.
Sí, coge clases, da clases, aprende a fallar, learn to fail. Así es como aprende. Y when you succeed, cool, pero no te recuestes.
Love that. Gracias por eso, Paola. Gracias por los gems que nos diste. Gracias por hablar, ¿verdad? Por un poco más allá y hablar de Puerto Rico y lo que se está dando y dónde estamos, dónde estuvimos, para dónde vamos. Yo creo que es bien importante. Always here, this is your house too. I always tell every guest that I have, like, if you have any projects, anything that you need promo, you need help with, like, shouting out, send it to me, tag me. I'll always make sure to, like, bridge that gap that we have as a community. Support each other, because if other communities do it, why don't we do it as well as Latinos? We need to work together. There's no other way, especially in the times that we live in today. So we have to support each other. We have to bridge that gap as well. So always here, this is your first time here, and whenever you come to Atlanta, I'll make sure to bring you inside the room and, do a full thing in there.
Eso.
Yes,
Como
you know how it is.
Como
fongo. Está bien, como fongo y viste. Intentamos.
Y viste una medalla y coquito.
Y ya. Nada más, me encanta. Paola, gracias again. Thank you everyone for listening to this new episode of Lights, Camera, Latino, the podcast. Remember to follow us on our social media platforms as Lights, Camera, Latino, and listen to us in Spotify, Apple Music, podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, everywhere. And I always like to finish with this. It says, when life knocks you down, levántate con más fuerza, keep fighting. Hasta la próxima. This was Lights, Camera, Latino.